Ladies and gentlemen, the Pies are after Sydney big man Jack Buller, as reported by Sam Edmund on Twitter. It's time to talk all things black and white. Okay, so that's timely as I release a video on Jamie Elliott and Brody Mihocek. Knowing that Brody Mihocek has a 2-year offer on the table, Collingwood have reached out to try and poach Jack Buller from the Sydney Swans, who has had some great success this season, late in the season, stringing together more than a handful of games for the Swans and has shown signs of great contested aerial ability and has a pretty solid set shot routine. That's what I've gathered so far. At the end of the day, I think with a player like this, it's a little bit more speculative. It's adding to the depth of Charlie West and a Noah Howes, especially if Mihocek is on his way out. Maybe this is foreshadowing something that we're mindful that there is every chance that a Mihocek could potentially make way at the end of the season and head elsewhere. So I say poach because it wouldn't. I would imagine a team like Sydney who have done have guided Buller through his apprenticeship, coming through the mid-season draft in 2023. He plays the back half of the season. He's 24 years old, as a key tall forward, 199 centimeters. They don't really have a true through and through key forward who shows up week in, week out. They have a Marty, they have Hayden McLean, and then they have Logan McDonald, who was injured for the most part of the year. So I understand there are probably 3 other forwards who are just, maybe a Marty and McLean is slightly ahead of this type of player in Jack Buller, but then Logan McDonald is the head of the snake. So I don't imagine Sydney letting or allowing Buller to leave so easily. He's out of contract at the end of this year. He's a non-free agent. So the ball is certainly in Jack Buller's court. If he wishes to make his way to Collingwood, I can imagine we'd be able to swindle someone like Jack Buller for a second round pick. I would like to think, given he's still relatively unproven, he's just on the precipice of finding out, or we are on the precipice of finding out what this man can be as he enters the early prime of his career, we'll say. So I think we can make a case that we have the leverage. Jack Buller has a leverage, and the fact that he is out of contract, Sydney will either have to accept whatever comes their way. Otherwise, they will have someone like Jack Buller simply walk to the draft and then go through there, which that they wouldn't want to happen. Typically, that's far-reaching. That's Luke Ball type stuff, right? So, look, we've done well in the mid-season draft ourselves, so I can appreciate that Sydney have found a player in the mid-season draft way back when in 2023, the premiership year that was. So to add to the depths would be a handy little coup, given, like I said, the fact that Brody Mihocek could very well be on his way out. We get someone, once again, when we don't have much draft capital, this is someone we probably can afford to get to the club. He played for Claremont in the Waffle. If you're looking for my opinion on what I think about this player, he looks okay. He can take good contested marks, has a good set shot routine. I haven't watched enough footy. He hasn't played enough AFL footy for me to make some sort of assumption on what type of player he is and what type of player he will be. I'm just stating the facts that we are looking into acquiring his services going into next year. And it does feel even more so now than heck a couple hours ago that maybe Brody Mihocek will be on his way out, and maybe this Buller player, if anything, at the very least, is a stopgap for while we bring up someone like Charlie West. Maybe we strike gold with a Noah Howes who's shown good signs in the VFL. Maybe he's just keeping Ben King's spot warm for when he enters free agency at the end of 2026. So these are a bunch of things that go through my mind. Some of the highlights of his season thus far, we can go through that. So he's played a total of 10 games. He played 9 in 2025. I'll get the screen up here for your reference, so chuck that up there. All right. So played one game in 2023 after the mid-season draft, and then has played 9 games pretty much back-to-back, 14, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So I just by looking at that, you don't just get given games, especially this was probably, if you want to make a case, this was Sydney's strongest portion of their season. So they would like to think, with recency bias, looking at the way their second half of the season went, they would think, okay, well, Buller was a part of the side. He had some really consistent games, and we want him to be a part of this team's future. And we don't necessarily want to let someone go when we've only scratched the surface of finding more about what this guy could be at this level. So in his last game, he had 14 touches, kicked 3 goals against the Eagles, had 7 score involvements. Yeah, I mean, these are the numbers. Have I watched the full game of the man? No. It'll be an interesting one. This will be something that plays out after the final series, after hopefully we secure premiership number 17. But he does fit that perfect age bracket where he's looking to enter some sort of prime of his career, and where we lack players in that age profile. If he is a good player and becomes a long-term serviceable player for the Pies, I mean, that would work out perfectly for us. Ultimately, how hard is Sydney going to push? What type of offer are they going to provide? I gather he's from Perth. We'll double-check that. So I'm not sure if there's any hometown advantage in this conversation. Jack Buller. Where's he from? Seems like he's from Perth. He pretty played for in the Western Australia. He played for Western Australia in the national championship. So that tells you everything. There's no hometown advantage. Very early days as the news about the surroundings of this inquiry have only arise today. So we'll keep a close eye on it and see where it goes. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, go Pies.